Hey, it's Al from Boston, and this is my last video for the night. It's on psychological warfare, mental games, stress, and coping. This is the first video out of the three I'm producing on psychological warfare, done by the hedge funds. First one's going to be mental illness, then I'll do one on emotional manipulation, and then finally FUD and how the impacts of that on the psyche of the human or the retail investor, rather. So let's kick it off. Ready? So stock fatigue syndrome. Let's talk about that. All right. Stock fatigue syndrome is a mental exhaustion caused by hypervigilant stock watching. For those who have been around since January, the initial gamma squeeze, you guys have been watching this for so long, and it's going up and down. You've seen it go up to $70 and $30 and this, that, and the other. It creates a bipolarity in our emotions, and it's really, just it traumatizes you in a sense, because you become this person that just wants to get it over with. It's like a divorce, right? You want this thing to be done and over with, and you're tired of it, and you just want anything to do with it. You just want to move on with your life, go to the next thing, have your life again, and this, that, and the other, right? That's what stock fatigue syndrome is. It's I would say the biggest threat to apes and this squeeze. People that just want to get it over with. They want to be done with it. And you should be concerned with this. If you have been holding this for any significant amount of time, you probably have this. I know I have it. I know I want to just get this thing over with. And that is something that might compel you to sell early, to paper hand, to get out and, at $5,000, $10,000, just because you don't want to deal with it anymore. Friends, let me tell you, don't do that. That's a mistake. You're talking about generational wealth here. We're not talking about a couple $1,000s. We're talking about generational wealth you can acquire through this play. Be vigilant in how you're thinking, how you're formulating thoughts, and what the conclusions of those thoughts are, and how you're acting. Okay, because you do not want to leave early from this party. You want to stay for the whole thing. So stock fatigue syndrome, if you have this mental exhaustion, just come to terms with it and say, okay, when the squeeze starts, you're going to have new energy, because you know what, that price is going to go up and it's not going to come back down. It's going to go up and up and up, and you might see a few drops here and there, but it's going to go back up eventually. Remember that eventually it's going to go back up. You're going to see feel a temporary pause in your ecstasy, and then it's going to go back up. Don't worry about it, okay? It's not real anyway. Let's go to the next one, trade trauma. This is real. Okay, when you think about it, all right, all the stuff you have on the line, your financial freedom, your family, your your future, the freedom that comes with having all this money and this wealth, and just not having to worry as much anymore. And that's having that on the line creates an added stress, right? And you might have lost money in the past, okay? So let's say you lost one day $100,000 in value, right? When that happens, it creates a deep wound, an emotional wound, believe it or not, because at one point that thing gave you a lot of happiness, and it was short and spurt and it was intense. And when you lost value in that stock, it affects you emotionally. It leaves a scar there, and it messes with your fight or flight response. And we're going to get to that here in a second. But this thing is real. It leaves a scar in your heart, and it's like a person dying, a friend of yours you've known and that's made you really happy, and they're dead here, and you're not going to see them again. And that's what it feels like. But it messes with our fight or flight response. It's going to take that severe trauma, and it's going to affect you when you make your decision making, because you might want to punch out. You want to be done with this thing. You want to be out. You might not want to be around and let this thing do this to you one more time. And that fight or flight, that gut reaction that one has, should be to stay rather than to leave or to exit. It's just trauma. It's a pain. It's a wound. The word nostalgia, look at that word nostalgia. It's a pain from an old wound. And that's what these things are. You might have lost a certain amount of dollars. You don't want to feel that way again. But this is not like before. This is a short squeeze. This is going to go to the moon. This is going to infinity. The losses for the hedge funds are infinity. The gains for us are the same. So you don't have to feel that way this time, because it's different. It's a different game. We're on the winning side. They're on the losing side this time. That's what you have to remember. You have to beat it into your mind, burn it in your head, saying this time around, we are going to be the winners. They're going to be the losers. Next one, price anxiety. Big. Here we go. All of a sudden, you wake up one morning and the price is at $10,000, and you are just absolutely, ecstatic. You're You're like, oh my God, it's gonna go to 15,000, it's gonna go to 20,000. And you start thinking about things, you start thinking about the past, you get into a negative thinking pattern, right? An OCD type thing. And you start asking yourself, well, what are the hedge funds gonna do next? What's what's my ape friends gonna do? Are they gonna leave too? Are they gonna leave at 50,000, 20,000, 10,000, 5,000? Nobody knows. I don't know either. You start getting anxiety because you don't have all the answers to these what if questions. Stop, take a breather, stop catastrophizing. That's when you think the worst thing is going to happen. Get out of that mental thought process of negativity. Get out of there completely. It's okay that you're feeling this. It's perfectly normal, but don't exaggerate it by making nothings into everythings. All right. This is going to squeeze. It's going to go to crazy numbers and it's going to rise up. And all you have to do is walk away from it and let it come back about 10 minutes later. And I promise you, by that time, you would have calmed down, you would have refocused, reshaped your heart, your mind, and you would have been perfectly centered to get back into the fight. Okay. So that's what you need to do. That's price rise anxiety. That's what happens. But I want to give you some really proven tactics, stuff that's going to help you throughout the entire process. Okay. So here's 7 tactics that do work. Walk away from the computer. Very simple. Get away from your laptop. Shift your focus. Find something else to do. Take a deep breath. Hug your partner. You got a girlfriend or a wife or a husband or whatever. Hug them, love them, do whatever. Love on your pets. Take your puppy out for a walk, your cat, whatever. Positive reinforcements saying, hey, it's okay to feel this way. It's going to be over soon. I don't have to feel this way forever. It's temporary. Have a glass of water. Anyone that's ever been in the military will tell you that a lot of times people are pissy because they haven't drank enough water. They're dehydrated. Drink fucking water. It's going to help you. Believe me, I promise you, it'll help you. You just need to be hydrated. And maybe change your socks. I feel a lot better when I change my socks sometimes. It's crazy, but it does work. For me, it does. Maybe it works for you. Who knows? Sit on your hands and breathe. That's one more thing. But let me tell you something, right? In your phone, there's literally thousands of meditation apps, yoga apps, and mindfulness apps. Download a couple of them and start working on a routine in the morning. And just to get yourself in that nice mood, that Zen mood, right? Abstain from alcohol, hard drugs, weed, whatever, during the week. Save it for the weekends, right? Because you want to be clear thinking. You don't want to get impulsive. You don't want to have a psychological impairment, a psychiatric impairment because you're on drugs or you're on substance or whatever. You don't want to do any of that stuff during the week. Do it on the weekends if you need to or you have to, and just stop doing it during the week because you want to be clear-minded. PT in the morning, exercise, get out there and walk, run, lift weights, whatever it takes to get your negative energy out of your system for that day and just relax. Listen, none of what you're feeling during this next couple of weeks is real. It's just your anxiety talking. It's your mental health talking. It's not really you. It's not the real person that's in you. So what I do is I hit the accept button on the thoughts. It's like an Apple disclaimer. You have to always do it. Just hit accept, even though you know nothing about it. You don't even care. Just hit accept. Let that feeling pass and just dismiss it. Get it out of your head. Move on to the next thought, whatever it may be. Right. These things will work if you allow them to, if you come up with a plan, right? But the first step is understanding what your triggers are and where they lie. What are your weaknesses? Write them down. Start formulating a plan in your head. That way, when the time comes, you can execute your trade with no problems, no hesitancy, no resistance, nothing, and you'll be okay. You'll be fine. In fact, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is and bet you these techniques will probably help you out in some way now that you know what's happening with you. You know about stock fatigue syndrome. You know about trade trauma. You know about price rise anxiety. You know these things now. Now you've been armed. Now you're going to be warned and you're going to take proactive actions. Remember, not reactive, proactive. All right. So, hey, if you found this helpful and you would like to help another ape in your community or you're another retail investor, please share it. I will leave my my YouTube link on there, which is unmonetized, as well as my Twitter account. Give me a click. Stay tuned for my other videos. Remember, this is one of 3. So stay tuned. I'll have 2 more to produce and to edit and get in your hands. And those are also very important. It's on FUD and emotional trauma caused by the hedge funds from other apes. Thanks so much. Al from Boston, signing out.